Mick, hold it, Mick. Hold it, Mick. Hold it, Mick. Hold it, Mick.
Can't do a bloody thing.
Mick, very happy, Mick.
Mick, one for me, Mick. One for me, please. I'm your mate.
Mick, together, please, Mick. Mick, one together, please. Sorry. Do we have?
No, I'm sorry, none together today. That's fine.
Where's Mr. Walker? Can you turn around? Back in that.
People have been talking about responsibility for a long time about pop singers generally. Everybody in the public eye has a responsibility. I'm not quite sure if this responsibility is quite as great as they make out, because I believe that individuals really make their own minds up more than people think. They really don't follow that much. You know, I mean, if they'd have followed Paul McCartney, you know, if all the Beatle fans in the world had followed Paul McCartney, they would have taken acid by now, which I'm sure isn't the case. But the responsibility is something which one realises quite early on. But this responsibility is usually quite narrow, and I don't like the kind of things such as some pop stars do, associating themselves with religion, preaching some kind of religion, and hoping this will sort of turn all the kids on to Christianity. I've never done that in any way, over anything, over religion, over drugs, over politics, over anything. I've never, because I don't consider myself knowledgeable enough or a responsible enough leader of anybody to...
They began to talk openly about drug taking, and they seem to have put happiness and love and drugs together.
They always go together. I don't think heroin brings happiness to anybody, or morphine or cocaine or anything like that. This is terrible things that people just get hooked on, and they're really not nice at all. There might be other kinds of drugs which aren't as harmful as this at all. And we've got a fantastic, the whole world, Western world has got a fantastic legalised drug system, which there's hundreds and hundreds of places where we're supposed to take drugs, and namely alcohol, which is very big business. And this drug, alcohol, is certainly, I don't think, any worse than the other drugs which have been brought up recently. And it's merely the Western drug, whereas...
Do you condone, then, drug taking in private?
Condone drug taking? I don't know. It's against the law, you know. I mean, that's not necessarily... I mean, it was against the law at one point, not so long ago in the judicial history of this country, to attempt to commit suicide. And some of those people who attempted to commit suicide were put in prison. I think, looking back on it, it seems rather a barbaric law. And we might, at one stage, look back upon this set of laws and consider them in the same way.
Like the lady interviewer of the political newspaper asked me about capitalism, and then the man from the radio asked me what my favourite Rolling Stone records are, and then the one before that asked me, you know, who I was sleeping with.
Do you get asked a lot of personal questions?
Yeah, a lot of political ones, you know, which I just don't have any interest in politics, you know. I don't follow it, so I'm wildly out of date, you know.
But why do people talk to you about politics?
Because they think, you know, in their sort of interview mentality, that I have some sort of view which other young people think the same, which may or may not be true. I mean, I'm the same, because I'm the same as them, you know, rather than them following me, I follow them, you know. Or I reflect them, or something, or I'm just the same as them, you know.
But they ask you to speak for your generation.
Yeah, all that, you know, which is just rubbish, because I just don't, you know.
Do people have preconceptions about you?
I can't tell. I'm sure they have. Fantasies they have. Not saying interviewers, necessarily. Ordinary people, just people in the street, have certain fantasies. I think they have fantasies about everyone connected with rock and roll or films, you know. I think that's what films and, you know, show business, or what you want to call it, is about, you know, as far as they're concerned. And the media have always never tried to destroy that, you know. They always think, oh, you know, just think of so-and-so's, what they've done, what Errol Flynn's sex life was, you know, or what, you know, it's big fantasies for them, you know, they can project themselves into that, you know. A guy come up to me in the pub and say, will you please leave this pub? I'll say, why? I want something to eat. And he says, I don't like your way of life. Well, I mean, he doesn't know me. I mean, he's only got my way of life from the news of the world or wherever he's got it from, or maybe he's just imagined the whole thing. I don't know how he knows what my way of life is. Only in as far as the media, so it's a fantasy.
But you must be very unobservant if you don't notice the way other people behave towards you.
I'm very unobservant. I'm really, how do you say, thick-skinned. Either I've grown to be or I am naturally very insensitive to other people's feelings, especially people that I don't know. Except in an audience, you know, and I take notice of them because I've come to see them, so I take notice of them. And Roll's got into such a weird thing now because so many people analysing it, and you know, especially in America, there's the most. Oh, it's a lot made of nothing as far as I'm concerned. You know, people writing in newspapers filling up space, but I mean they're reviewing one song, taking, you know, 6 columns, you know. The sociological meaning, the religious meaning, the political meaning, and then what I personally think, and they wrap it all up, you know. I mean, it's just ludicrous for me. It seems to be too much appreciation from the older generation as far as I can make out. You can't get rid of them at concerts, asking these questions about, you know, what made you write this, and did you read Baudelaire's Land of Cocaine? I can detect the influence of Rabelais there. It's just rubbish, you know.
I noticed you've got Baudelaire on your shelves and The History of the Devil and The Idea of Evil, so obviously you're not disinterested in the idea of evil.
No, I'm interested. I'm interested in the idea, all those kind of ideas. It's the usual thing, I think, at this time, one's life, to be interested in that. I mean, after you read certain poetry, you know, then you get interested in it factually, you know. I mean, everyone reads all those things when they're young. Everyone that goes to college. I'm just a college dropout.
But a lot of people feel uncomfortable at the words of your song and the tones of your songs, don't they?
Do they? I don't think so.
The kind of thing I mean was borne out when I saw Performance, which it seems to me is about using people as objects, and is a very depraved film.
Decadent, maybe. A little decadent. Yeah, it's decadent, you know, that film. I mean, it's I think all the people in it, more or less, apart from James Fox, are decadent people. I mean, they were specifically put together for that, you know, and everyone went more decadent than they really are, you know, for the purpose of acting.
We haven't got a blower up here.
What in God's name has he done to his hair?
He's blown it. Yeah, well, that's it, dear. I've got to ring up my agent again. Oh, I fancied the red. No, it was the red was died. Dead. Died. Red.
Died it? Dead.
Red. Van Gogh, eh?
Oh, no, this is a normal.
The normal.
Yeah. I was just having a laugh. Having a laugh, you see, with my act, with my image. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Thought you would. He reckons, my agent, that time for a change.
It's time for a change.
What is it, boy?
Yeah, so can I. Personally, casting one's mind back, I rather liked it.
No, you fool, your act, your image. We just remembered, see? We've seen it, we caught it in Hamburg. your act.
Oh, yes, it's fascinating. Well, mushrooms, eh? I like them fried.
Hungry, hey?
Even though as one artist to another is a bit old-fashioned.
Yeah, well, I am a bit old-fashioned.
I think the actors have a certain amount of decadence, which is why they were chosen to play the parts. I didn't put James Fox in that because I think he was chosen because he wasn't so decadent. Nevertheless, the people in real life aren't like they are on the screen. But I mean, the whole thing in a good film, I think, which I like performance, I think it's a good film, in retrospect, is... What was I going to say? That they are, you know, they're believable. People will believe that Anita Pallenberg and myself are really like that in real life. But in actual fact, we're not.
If there are a lot of people who are convinced that in some way you and your music are an evil influence, that must be a challenge that you would take seriously and want to reply to.
I don't take it seriously anymore. I think we've won, you know. I mean, I don't think people do. I mean, I don't know if you are saying you think so. I'm saying, yeah, that at the beginning, you know, when we started out, they did. People would say that. I think now, I think they've accepted us. I mean, especially in England. I mean, if you stay around in England for longer than 5 years, you know, you become like an institution, you know, like you know, the BBC.